Eclipse-II. This is a MOC by onecase, which consists of 2,151 pieces. onecase published instructions for his MOC on rebrickable.com in February 2024. If you want to buy the instructions, you have to pay $17. The Eclipse-II is a ship which appeared in the old Star Wars lore in the old canon before Disney took over. I really love the old canon, and I'm not a fan of the new Disney stuff. Of course, there are some TV series which are quite cool and I like to watch some of them, but for me that's just very well-made fanfiction. I still prefer the old expanded universe. And the Eclipse-II is a ship which we could find there. The Eclipse-class ships were introduced in the Dark Empire comics. The Eclipse-II was introduced in Dark Empire 3, Empire's End. It's the second ship of the Eclipse class. It looks more or less identical to the first Eclipse. I think the biggest differences are that the engines are arranged differently and that the Eclipse-II has got an additional structure on top of the bow. There is another huge MOC of this ship out there. Maybe that MOC is even better known. It consists of over 10,000 pieces, and yeah, it's a MOC by the designer Jorstad. It's also an awesome MOC, but it comes with some inaccuracies. It is a mixture of both Eclipses. It comes with the first Eclipse's bow, but the engines of the second Eclipse. But it also comes with some cool details like gravity well projectors. I like the Jorstad MOC and I also own the instructions, and I already had collected a lot of pieces for that MOC. I guess I had collected almost all of the needed pieces. But at least at the moment I prefer the smaller MOC by onecase. Because it looks so elegant, it seems to be completely studdless, and that's always cool. By the way, compared to onecase's other MOCs, this is a rather small MOC. In the scene, onecase is very well known for his huge Star Destroyer MOCs. For example, his Monarch Star Destroyer uses over 11,000 pieces. Compared to that, the MOC we are going to build now is rather tiny. To do the expanded universe and this MOC justice, we are only going to use pieces of the best quality. That's why I ordered Go bricks from China. I paid about €74.50 for all those pieces here, plus about €23 for shipping. Not all the needed pieces are produced by the company which produces Go bricks, and that's why I also had to order some Lego pieces from Bricklink. You can see it's only one type of pieces. I paid about €1 for the bricks, plus about €2.50 for shipping. When we add the $14 which we paid for the instructions to this list, then I have paid in total about €115 for this MOC. I think that sounds like quite a fair price. Well, I'm going to sort all my pieces now by type. You can see that most of the pieces already come pre-sorted, but there are also some bags which come with quite a mixture of different pieces. And simply to save some time during the building process, so that I do not have to search too long for an individual brick at each building step, I'm going to sort now all the pieces before I start with the building process. And yeah, after I have sorted all the pieces, I will start with the first PDF file of the instructions. The instructions come in 2 PDF files, but only the first PDF file starts with step 1. The numbers are continuously, so the second PDF file goes on with step 500 or something like that. It doesn't start again with another first step. Well, okay, I'm going to sort my pieces, and after that I will start with step 1. I will come back to you as soon as I see something interesting or something doesn't work like shown in the instructions or something like that. Step 36. At the moment we are building the ship's core or its internal structure, and this is done with the help of a lot of Technic pieces. And so far we have to spin around the build in every single step to add other pieces. The instructions are very easy to follow. It's everything is absolutely clear, but nevertheless it might get a bit annoying over time, I guess, when we have to spin around the build in every step. But so far this isn't really a problem. But I just noticed that in this step 36, for the first time we see the symbol that tells us to turn the build around. In all the other steps, this symbol wasn't shown. It's normally standard these days to place the symbol so that the builder who follows the instruction knows that he has to turn the build around. But I think it's always quite obvious from the view that you have to turn the build, so it isn't really a problem. When I do instructions myself, I leave out that symbol too most of the time. I'm just a bit too lazy. Step 135. I think we have completed the stand. And you can see that the stand and the ship itself are part of the same construction. So once we have completed the build, we won't be able to detach the build or the ship from the stand and swoosh it around. That's a bit sad, but at least this means that the stand will be extremely sturdy. The ship won't be able to fall off from the stand. But we have to see if it's such a good idea that the stand is black, because the ship is going to be black too, and maybe it will look as if the stand is part of the ship, which of course isn't true. Step 185. In this step we have to use 2 of those 2x2 jumper plates, and those are pieces which are still protected by the Lego company. To circumvent this protection, the GoBricks pieces come with a groove. You can see it here when you look closely. And normally I do not like to use these pieces. I use Lego pieces instead, and I have enough of those pieces in my collection. But since these pieces here won't be that visible in the completed build, since we put stuff on top of them, I'm not going to look for my Lego pieces, I'm simply going to use these. Step 258. In this step we are using a piece which I haven't seen before. It's a Technic pin double triangle with 2 clips. The Lego company used these pieces between 2004 and 2015, and they only appeared in 20 sets, so it's no wonder that I do not know these pieces. I'm no Technic guy at all, and since they didn't appear in many Technic sets, the chances that I had ever seen this piece is really low. Step 342. At the moment we are building the ship's bow, and this bow uses a cool building technique. For that building technique we are using these semicircles here. You remember those are the pieces which I bought on Bricklink. Alright, so here we got the bow. And you can see that here on the tip I have placed these. Here, I actually have no idea how those pieces are called. Those are 2x2 plates with attached semicircles to them. And well, to those pieces we add 1x2 jumper plates. Nothing special so far. But now we also want to fill this gap here, or we want to bring this part here on the same level as those jumper plates here. And for that we are using this semicircle here, this Lego piece. And it's quite cool. We turn it upside down, and now we can interlock the stud with this hole here. Just like this. I really like this building technique. And you can see we have used it 4 times. And this means now I have used all of my Lego pieces. It's hard to see in the instructions, you just have to believe me. We have reached step 350. And in the step, we wed the bow with the rest of the ship. And I think this means now we can see the ship's final dimensions. This build is way bigger than I anticipated. Wow. Step 386. In this step we have to place 2 pieces, a 3x3 plate and a 1x1 plate. But when we have a look at the image here, we can only see where to place the 3x3 plate. Like this. But where do we have to place the 1x1 plate? I can only guess that we have to place it below this stud, because you can see below this stud there is still a part of this 1x3 plate below, but there isn't anything below that stud. As you can see here, there is just emptiness. So my guess is that we have to place the 1x1 plate below that bigger plate. Oh damn it, I dropped the plate. Where is it? Here it is. So let's see if I can do this. I guess I will make things a bit easier. Let's do it like this. Oops. Like this. And now we should be able to place it here. Yeah. So I think the 1x1 plate is supposed to be placed here. But we will have to find a step where we can see this segment here from the opposite side to be sure. Oh yeah, here it is. It's quite zoomed out, but maybe we can zoom in a bit. And then we should be able to find the segment. It's here. There's the 1x1 plate. Great. We did everything correctly. Step 395. If I'm not mistaken, then we have completed the main structure, and now we are going to add segments to the build. So of course we have to build those huge segments first. My guess is that we are going to build 4 segments. 1 segment to close this area here, 1 segment to close the opposite area, and of course the other 2 segments to close the ship from below. Step 512. We have reached the end of the first part of the instructions. Time for the second PDF file. Step 524. We have completed the first of those 4 huge segments. And now it's time to attach it to the build. It goes here on this side like this. Wow, we still have to build 3 more of those things. This will take quite a while. I like the way the segment is attached to the main build. So, this is done with the help of 2 different building techniques. The first building technique is simply to interlock bars with clips, here, here, over here, and also here. And the second method is to use ball joints. It was quite easy to attach this, and normally it's quite difficult to attach 2 huge segments to each other. But the building techniques used here make the whole process very easy. Step 645. We have added a second huge panel to the ship's underside, but when we have a closer look at the underside, you can see that there's still a huge gap between those 2 segments. And my guess is that we are going to close this gap in the upcoming steps. Step 666. A part of the huge gap can be closed with this segment here, but there will still be parts of the gap open, and we will close those open parts with other segments. Step 680. I think we have completed the ship's underside. Let's see how I can show you this without killing it. Yeah, like this. And yeah, now the gaps are pretty much closed. Of course, here in the front there are still smaller gaps, but I think once we have added the panels on the top, light won't shine through that much, and hence the gaps won't be that visible any longer. Alright, then let's go on with building the upper side of this ship. Step 817. We have completed the first of the upper panels, and now it's time to connect it with the build. And when you have a look at the build, there you can see that we got clips over here and there, and also here in the front. And I think this panel is only connected via those clips. Oh, here's another bar, a handlebar, but I think this isn't connected at all, at least not at the moment. Yeah, you can see that we got also here one of those bars at the lower panel, which isn't connected yet. So I think only these 3 bars connect this huge panel to the build. Well, I think this is something which I have to do with 2 hands. I'll be right back. It hasn't been the easiest step of this build to connect the huge upper panel to the main build, but it's not an impossible task either. You can see that I managed to do it. It's a bit fiddly, but yeah, you just have to try out for maybe 5 minutes and then everything will fall into place. But what really annoys me is that the bow keeps popping off the whole time. Yeah, it's not popping off, but when I move the build, which simply is necessary during the building process, then I don't know, there starts to get some torsion here on the front part, and because of that the bow simply falls off the whole time. But other than that, the build is really sturdy, and I think once I have completed the build, I'm not going to move it in this strange way, and so the bow will stop falling off, I hope. Step 867. Sometimes it's not so easy to see where we have to place the pieces because, well, the image which we see in the instructions is zoomed in very much. Over here or over here, those are not the ends of the build. You can see here that the build is way longer, and so we need other points to have some orientation. What I did now to place these 1x8 bricks was that I had a look at those curved slopes here. And then I looked at the gap here, and I could see that this brick here ends at the same level where this gap here of that curved slope is. And so I could place this brick here. You see, here is the gap, and here also ends this brick. And then I placed the other bricks next to that brick. This isn't really difficult, but you have to concentrate and count a lot. Things would have been a bit more pleasant if the next step was the earlier step. So you can see here, we place these pieces here, and it would have been easier to place these pieces first and then these pieces here next. Step 946. We just have added the second of those huge upper panels, and the second panel was a bit more difficult to add than the first panel because, I simply was afraid that I'm going to break things. With the first panel there, I still had much space to put my hand in and to have some places to touch to counter the pressure. But when adding the second panel, we close the whole build, and therefore I can only touch from the other side. I can hold the other panel and push here, but then I of course fear that I break things in the middle or something like that while pushing from both sides, I will make the whole build explode. And that would be really bad. But after a while, I managed to place all 3 clips correctly, and as you can see, I could attach the whole panel. And now it's absolutely sturdy. But once again, of course, I struggled with the bow here in the front. It kept falling off. The front really isn't sturdy when you move a lot something here in the back. Maybe it's easier to detach the front and simply put some books below. I don't know. I hope for now that now I have done everything which puts the whole ship into some motion and struggles the front here. Think next we are going to add stuff to the rear, and I hope that from now on the front here won't be affected any longer, and so it will stop falling off. Step 979. We have built another of those long panels, and now we are going to add it, I think, up here like this, or maybe the other way around. I will find out. But I want to show you this. I gave up on the bow. I'm going to connect the bow in the end when I have completed the build. It keeps falling off and it's just too annoying, and because of that I put the ship on these empty bowls here. Step 994. We have closed the ship's top, so you can see the gap between those huge panels is closed now. And yeah, I think now really the only thing left to do is to add the engines in the back. Step 1068. With adding the engines, we have completed the build. And here it is, this very special superstar destroyer, this terrifying beauty, the Eclipse-II. It's a great ship, it looks awesome, and wow, this thing is definitely bigger than I expected it to be. Have a look, here's my arm for comparison. It's a huge build, wow. And for that size, this thing is very sturdy. Really cool. Well, then let's have a look. Let's have a closer look. Where do we start? I guess we should start with the front, with the bow. And yeah, this is the iconic bow of the Eclipse-II. This cross shape definitely shows that it's part of the Eclipse-II. The first Eclipse didn't have this tower up here, and also this T part wasn't there. There we only had, I think, from here to here, the bow simply going straight down, and I think up here was the laser of the Eclipse-I. But this isn't the Eclipse-I, this is the Eclipse-II, and that's why it's shaped like this. And this looks so great. Awesome. onecase has done an amazing job in designing this thing. I really like that this build is completely statless. Every single stat is hidden. Wow. This almost doesn't look like a model which you have built with only building blocks. Here is the iconic back. So once again, we can definitely see that's the Eclipse-II and not the Eclipse-I. The Eclipse-I, I think it has 4 engines or 6, I can't remember, but they are in another order. They are more or less only next to each other and not on top of each other, and also they are not divided by anything in the middle. Let's have a look at the underside. Look here. There's a little bay. Awesome. And I remember that we could see this bay in the comics. So great. Let's have a look at the top. There we can see the bridge tower. Sadly, I do not have much information about this ship. There is more information about the first Eclipse, but the second Eclipse sadly is quite unknown. We don't know how strong the laser is. We know that the laser of the first Eclipse was had about 2/3 of the power of the Death Star's laser, but I don't know how strong the weapons of this ship here are. I know that the armor is way stronger than the armor of the first ship, But yeah, that's more or less all I know about this. I also know that the engines are stronger, but we do not have much information about this. I don't think that it was ever used for some of the role-playing games, and since this isn't a case, we do not get any detailed information. Well, but as you can see, the shape of the ship really is done perfectly. It looks just like in the comics. It's awesome. Building this thing was absolutely easy. The instructions were very smooth. I didn't have any problems to follow them. Maybe here and there, one case could have changed the order of the steps. This would have made placing some pieces easier, but the way he did it, it isn't impossible to do either. You just have to count a few steps and then you know where to place the pieces. So there are no problems at all. Maybe design-wise, I do not like that the stand is black too. I guess I would have preferred the stand in another color, because the ship is black, and with a black stand, it might look like the stand is part of the ship, which of course it isn't. But on the other hand, if the stand was in another color, then maybe, yeah, this would look strange. This would highlight the stand, which we do not want to see too. So yeah, maybe it was the best decision to simply keep the stand in black. The build is extremely sturdy. It's swishable. I can't really do this with just one hand, but you can see that I can, without any problem, pick it up. It's a very sturdy build. You only have to pay a bit of attention with the bow. You can see it's a very thin segment of the build, which is only connected to one row of studs, and yeah, because of that, this is the most fragile part of the ship. So I don't know, if you move it a bit like this, you can see that it bends, and then it might quite easily happen that it simply breaks off. This happened quite often during the building process, so I would recommend to place the bow in the end and simply place some books below the ship so that you can build the rest without any problem. Well, this is a huge build, but I also could build it quite quickly. I didn't need too many hours to build this, and the whole building process was much fun. And I think the result speaks for itself. It's really a beautiful design, and I can only recommend this MOC by onecase.